Perfect.
There we go.
All right, perfect. All right, good morning, everyone. So we were broken up based off of our subject count. So this is the 1 to 100 room. And so we're going to jump in quickly and get started. I'm just displaying the questions. I'll lead you so that you can, I'm not expecting anybody to write them down or to remember them all. And so we're just going to go through each question. We have about 20 minutes per topic. And then I will get a notification on our screen saying that we have about 5 minutes left before it's time for the next topic. So I am not going to share this screen the entire time so that everybody can see everyone's face while we discuss. So the first topic is virtual student development. And the first question says, what systems do you have in place to observe or flag new concepts, achievement tests, and corrections? And just remember, guys, this is based for best practices for everybody to just share some ideas. Maybe it's something you haven't thought about, or maybe something that's working very well for you. Please share. So what systems do you have in place to observe or flag new concepts, achievement tests, and corrections? Anybody want to share? Chrissy, do we have a spokesperson? You're on mute, Chrissy. Still on mute.
Abby, would you like to be our spokesperson? Can you hear
Abby?
We can't hear you yet, Abby. Are you willing to be our spokesperson? All right. Arshad? Good morning, Arshad. We can't hear you. You took your...
Not today, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Any volunteers? Or voluntols? Okay, Neela. Thank you. But you're going to have to take yourself off mute and talk to us.
All right. So let's jump into that. Neela's our spokesperson for the 1 to 100 group. Let's jump right in. So what systems do you all have in place for flagging new concepts, achievement tests, or corrections? Please just take off. This is a safe space, guys. Anybody? Is anybody giving achievement tests, or is anybody, sending home corrections? Is anybody seeing concept? Oh, thank you.
I have been giving the tests at the center. So what I do is I schedule them in. So what we have been doing is that we've been pulling for 2 weeks. And when I plan it and prep everything, I make a list of who needs to be taking a test. And then when they come to pick up their work, I will schedule in for the students to come in to take the test. It'll be one student at a time. So there's nobody else in the center. It's just me and the student, and only on one table. And that table gets cleaned and everything. They're not allowed to be anywhere around the center, just that one particular table.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am pretty much I'm from Tifton Center, and I am pretty much doing the same thing what Neela just said it. I schedule one person at a time. I do pull out for a month, not for 2 weeks, but sometimes I do give my answer books to the parents to grade it, and for the homework, and for the test purpose, I ask them to bring them in the center or just take the test through Zoom in front of me. So that's working very fine, and everything is going well. And I do ask parents sometimes to bring in the center, which of course one at a time. And my setup of the center is pretty wide open, because all the tables, I just put it away. Only 5 tables, I left it in the center of the main room, so they can sit only one table on one student.
And both of you feel like your families have been pretty open to it so far?
Yes, ma'am. They actually, some of them do want to come to the center for regular hours and regular days, but most of them don't want it to come back. They're happy with the Zoom.
Okay.
Same thing with me. There are some students, some parents, they've actually asked me, can we come to the center? And I have said yes, but I don't want it to be where I have a lot of students coming in. It's just one at a time. So I have to schedule it in like that, just to have one student in at a time. And then some of them want to do like, okay, can we do twice a week? So I do like, I'm not gonna do twice a week coming into the center, but once a week, and then we do the video thing.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anybody, how are you handling new concepts?
I have been telling them to do the video, and then I will let the parents know at the time that, look, they're going into something new, and I definitely, before they even started, I need to be seeing them on that.
Okay.
Parents know ahead of time that this is something new coming up.
And it looks like we got something in the chat box that it seems like for the most part, everybody's doing the same thing, that they're giving the parents an option of whether they want their student to come into the center or if they want to take their achievement test at home. So that's sounding pretty consistent.
Sometimes in the car.
Go ahead.
Sometimes in the car, they take it, they prefer not to come in the center. So they take it in the car.
Oh,
I've heard that, yeah.
okay.
Okay. And you're just standing outside the window being able to, you know, observe.
Yeah, not the whole time, but yeah, the parent sometimes proctors the test and then just give it to them, get started from a certain distance, because a parent may be sensitive about people coming close to their child. So just do it from a distance and then come back and kind of peek at it and then come back and get the test back when it's done.
Awesome. Thank you.
So for the new concept from my center, I give them a level summary colored sheet. So most of my parents, they understand it. So they help them out at home. But if they think that the student needs help, so they ask me to bring them to the center. And of course, that happens once student one time. So most of the parents really do help the kids at home for the new concept, and it's working out good.
Well, that's good news. The parents seem to be very involved.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of parents are not don't prefer Zoom. They prefer FaceTime over Zoom. So that has been working well.
Good.
Same thing with me. I've been using WhatsApp or Facebook video.
Okay. Still virtual, just, you know, whatever works best for the family. So I think that's good. What about corrections? How are you handling corrections?
When they have corrections to be, when they have to do the corrections. So when I hand out the packages, so what I do is I keep the corrections on top and then the 100% on the bottom. So that way the kids already know that they're supposed to be doing corrections first, but I tell the parents at the same time, before they go and start their work, I need these corrections done. If it's a lot and I see that they're missing a lot or something, I will definitely tell the parents that you need to do a video with me, or I need to talk to them. So that way I can explain to them exactly what they're doing wrong. And that it's too many mistakes, that they're not being careful or they're not focusing enough on it.
Okay, so still that opportunity to get those done. Go ahead.
In my center situation, I have given them, for the parents, my answer book to grade at home, and the grade book pamphlet that you guys sent it to us. That really helped them to grade at home and ask the students to do it corrections at home right away. So when they bring it back to me, all these works, it's all been graded, all been corrected. I just need to record in my record book.
You have very disciplined parents. I like it. We have a couple things in the chat box. Someone said that they seal the test before they take it so that they know they haven't reviewed it before they observe the test. And the parents know in advance to only remove the seal once they're actually on their virtual session. And then we also have, if a child has a lot of corrections, they're having a one-on-one video time to actually go over the corrections with the actual student. So it sounds like everybody has some type of method in place for each one. I do want us to be able to get through a few, so I'm going to keep moving to the next question. It says, how are you able to instill work skills with students that are in the lower levels?
Well, in the lower levels for me, the parents are saying that they're like, they're happy to be doing it. And so they want to do it. And when we do the video, they're happy to see us, like a familiar face like that. So knowing that with that work skill, I've got like a clock, an atomic clock right in front of me, even at home. And so I'll actually time it, and they're knowing that this is how long it's taking. And if they want to get chatty, I say, let's get to work now. You know that. We'll chat later, but let's just get to work. And the parents are right there, so they know exactly what we have to do. So that's good. How the parents are going to be right there, and they're not even in. They don't even disturb. That's a great thing. They're not putting their inputs in.
In my situation, I'm having trouble with that because my students do want to have fun instead of doing online. So they just turning and tossing, moving, lazy, don't pay attention. So it's very hard to bring them back to the paper. So once they're close to finish the worksheets, they start really quick and just run away right after finishing. Oh, I'm done. So I'm having a little difficulty with that.
Anybody else that has some, maybe another idea? Neela says she has the parent there. The parent's not interrupting, but they keep basically setting that expectation for the student. Anybody else have any other ideas? Or that's working for you, or that you are thinking about trying?
I do ask parents to sit down with the kids sometime, but since the parents are sitting with them, they're more towards the parents and take it more easy. Some parents are strict, so they tell them after each page is just back to work and pay attention, but some of them just take it easy with the parents. So I tell the parents, let just me and him deal, but it's not working fine with me. So I'm still trying my hard to get back to the work.
Well, keep trying, don't stop. You
Yes,
need
ma'am.
to ask those parents to be a little more strict sometimes. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. And if somebody has, something that's working that you want to address, we can always come back to it. The next question says, how do you determine if a student should advance or do repetition based on your current virtual class setup? So how do you determine advancement or repetition?
When I see, I have quite few students in level 7A, 6A, 5A, and 4A. So 5A, 4A, I pay attention to the sounds, the consonants and all. So most of them just write it down and move on. They don't say the sound of ST or NK or other sounds of that. So for that observation, I take them back and then I ask them, what's the sound like for ST or NK like that? So they're not able to say it. So I take them back and I try to do it on virtual. And for the 7A, 6A, I observe them because once I read first page, side A, they read side B by themselves very quick and correctly. So for that observation, I move them up. And I think they're perfectly fine of reading side B and then sometimes side A and side B both.
Right, so you're just basically doing what you would normally do in class, right? Observe,
yes,
making sure that they actually have the content before you move them on. Were you about to share something?
Yeah, so what I was gonna say is what I do just to see whether the advancement and stuff. So basically same thing what Naeem said is you listen to the sounds, and while you giving them the instructions each time that while you're tracing, especially for 5A, if you're tracing, you need to say the sound while you're tracing. So one particular girl, she just quickly wants to say it, and I'll say, I didn't hear you say those sounds. You know you're supposed to say the sounds each time you write. I want to hear the sounds. So if she doesn't say it, and she knows that she didn't say it, I said, what did you not do? I didn't. Okay, say your sounds. And it's not like she doesn't know it. She does know it, but she's just like, wants to quickly get done. That's what it is. But that was one. And then another one is when they came in to take a test, I observed like just to take the test in, and I'm like, I had already started them off in 3A because, you know, giving them 2 weeks of work. But then I told Mom, we're repeating 4A back again. I'm sorry, he just doesn't know these. We're repeating it back. And she said, okay, because she wants it to be where he's not struggling with it, but he knows it. And so that's one of the reasons why then I said, okay, we're just pushing him back. But just things like that, just observing from the test itself tells me that he's not ready or they're not ready for it to just be advanced.
Right. Well, it is good that the parents are actually understanding of that. So they understand that when you need to go back, they understand why. So that's great. We're going to, so we can get through as many as we can before the next topic. This one says, how are you communicating the EL objectives with your parents? Are your lesson planning strategies for EL different from the main classroom students? I think it's just wondering, are you more strict with the EL? Is it more conservative? Or, you know, are your main classroom students more aggressive planning? How's your planning piece for? Does it differ between your EL and your main classroom?
So, Corey, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
I'm looking
I got you.
at
I see.
the chat. Rupal reviews the work with the parents, so parent training, awesome. Jenna looks for progression at the end, takes into consideration the aims of the level, and then uses her observation notes, and has her assistant share their observation notes so she can decide whether kiddos need a repetition or whether they can move on. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so that's great. Thank you for that.
Yan, the AT and PT are available for you to screen share on Zoom, but we are not sending them digitally to families.
Okay, let's keep moving. What are your goals for virtual instruction? What aspects of student development do you think can be nurtured through online Kumon sessions? Do you have any personal goals for these actual virtual?
Sitting still.
Okay.
Because they are not in a classroom environment, they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that they can be easily distracted.
And so how do you think you can nurture that through the virtual sessions?
So I had one 5-year-old, she's 4, turning 5. She had a fruit roll-up with her when she was about to sit down. I told Mom that, can she have that later? And let's get this thing done first. Because I wanted to have it same thing like in the classroom. I don't want things around them, no eating, no drinking. Same thing. I want the same thing to be followed at home with the no.
So setting that same expectation.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want it to change. So that's just.
Got it. Jenna said in the chat that she wants the students to be able to gain some type of focus. So gaining focus for the students. Anybody else? Something, you know?
I mean, I'm having difficulty with quad student, as I said before, focusing on online, and I have no idea how do I bring them back to the work. And since Neela says it's at home and they're more comfortable at home, so whatever the position they want to, sometimes feet on the table, sometimes all 4 pieces on the chair. So it's hard, but sometimes moms bring the drinks, so at least they get back to work or do something. But it's not really helping with me much.
We've seen that, just to add this in there, we've seen that instructors are sending out to parents that at-home study expectation. So, and, just letting them know, and we've had to send, I've seen instructors send text messages to a parent saying, hey, can you have, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Summer, ready, sitting in a quiet space somewhere where she's not on her bed, and can you ask her to keep her toys away? So having those conversations with the parents, and they seem to understand, and the next time the student got on her Zoom session, she had no distractions, basically. So it may be sometimes that you have to flat out ask the parent.
So do we have any kind of handout to send it home for at-home expectation? Or
Yeah,
we have
I've
to
got
make it
some
our own?
resources I'll be happy to share with you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next one. How have you communicated I think we've kind of reviewed this one. Let's go to the next one. Are there families who are not participating in any virtual interaction? And how are you intentionally developing these students? Anybody struggling with getting students onto the virtual sessions?
Not with me so far.
Well, that's great. That's good that they're getting on.
Yes, ma'am.
I have probably about few, like about couple, and they're older kids and mom and, and I've called the parents and I said, just to let you know, we do need to be observing or so-and-so, and they're saying they're doing fine. And so then I talk to the students too at the same time. Like, if do you need, like, is it something that you're struggling with, or I just want to see something? But they're saying that no, they're fine. So I don't want to push it with them, because I do know, because they're a little older, they're getting a lot of homework. This is the one
Right.
complaint I've had from a lot of parents is, because everything got virtual, they're playing the role of teacher, mom, working, and Kumar. So they're saying, some of them are saying, I don't want them to be on the computer or on the thing so much. And so they don't want that, but they're still doing their work, if that makes any sense.
Right. So as long as, that's the point where I think we want to go, is to make sure, even if those students aren't getting on those virtual sessions, are they actually still getting what they need, basically? Do they
Right.
need anything? And if they do, can they reach out? So that's good. Anybody else have anything they have in place for someone that may not necessarily be getting on their virtual sessions? Or, I mean, it sounds like everybody's doing well with this, the students actually getting on.
Well, I know a lot of instructors, and Neela, you said a little while ago, using WhatsApp, FaceTime, Facebook, Zoom, Google, whatever it is that the families are comfortable with, which is awesome for customer service and just making it easier for families.
Yeah, what I do is I actually, I call mostly everybody at least once a week to see how things are going. Customer service, again, like
Yes.
just how everybody's doing and how they're all going. Or I send a remind email out, just, and let them know I'm here. Like, if you need anything, just call me. And I just put my cell phone numbers out there. Like, I don't know, I get random calls.
Okay. And then anybody else have anything they want to add before we move to the next question?
Yeah, I do Tori, I do the same thing. So I have blocked out 2 other days besides the classroom days. And I've told them this is my number if they get stuck, or feel free to call me anytime. And I'll be glad to go over with whatever questions the student has. But at this time, it feels like the parents are overwhelmed with their schoolwork,
Exactly.
virtual. So I have a couple who don't come online at all. But I just keep following up with them by making phone calls, or every time they come to pick up their work.
Right. So having that open communication that you're available. But I think it'll be interesting to see that, once school is out. So once June hits, will they actually be joining the sessions, because their workload won't be as heavy as far as, dealing with school also. So that should be interesting to see.
Yes.
I have actually opened up my center, not the center, the virtual, for the kids who are in IJK level. If they need any help, they can contact me on the other days because my regular schedule is Tuesday, Friday, from morning to night for all these kids to be on virtual. But I mean, I can give them time on Tuesday, Friday, so I tell them to come on either Wednesday or Thursday. So I can give more time to the kids who are in EL than, you know, IJ or K students.
Right. Okay. And then the last question in this section before we move on, it says, are goals still being discussed with students to ensure that they are meeting all of those checkpoints? So, you know, you set goals for them as far as KIS, you know, 30-day. Are your students still, are you all still having those discussions to make sure that students are on track?
Yes, I do call the parents. And when they come pick up, because it's every other week, that's one way of communication. Because when they bring in their work, the day they come in, like today is one of our pickup days. So everything will be ready for them to be picking up. But I also have 3 staff people that come into the center and all they're doing is just grading. So what happens is we're having the work graded every 2 weeks. So we see exactly what's going on. And that's when my communication with the parents is going to be right then when they come pick up again. So that they can see it right then and there, like what's going on.
Right. So that piece, have you had any conversations with your actual students about their goals?
Yes, I have. I tell the parents, when you get home, can you please, I need to talk to them. Or like if you could get them to call me or whenever you have the time or whatever. But yes, I have talked to students too.
Abby or Shad, do y'all have any pointers for keeping kids engaged and moving toward their goals and wanting to, just the motivation piece of meeting their goal even though they can't come to the center?
It's the same pointers what just Neela said.
I have, I print out my progress report for each student and I keep it in the center when they come pick up the work. I go over with them with the progress report and I tell them how they're moving up and what's their grade level and what we are looking for. So my kids, most of them are looking forward to move up and they're really working hard to get to ASHR 3. And most of them are really close to, so that really helping them out, and parents as well know about their students' progress because it's been really hard since this thing happened to communicate with these parents, because you can talk to them on the phone, but you can really show them what exactly they are, where they are, and how they are progressing. So I do print out all these progress reports for each students, and I go over with them when they come and pick up homework.
Nice. Okay.
Shirley, you have a question?
Shirley?
Yes, so with respect to the motivation, now we're doing ATs online. I do it on Zoom sessions. So I grade it while doing the sessions, and when the parents come to pick up the next set of work, when they submit the AT, they do get their certificates. And I am sending home the Kumon dollars. I do have Kumon dollars as rewards when they come to the center. So I'm giving them Kumon dollars for every work packet that's returned. So they're like getting 20 Kumon dollars every 2 weeks. With their certificate, they get extra Kumon dollars. So they're very happy and something to let them, motivated. And for the younger ones, for ELs, in the work pickup packet, I'm actually putting in treasure box items because I do stickers and treasure box for them. And since they're not here, the little ones need instant rewards. So they're getting two treasure box items.
Nice.
Which I'm just putting in the box for them. So they're really excited about that.
Yeah, that's probably fun, I'm sure. Okay. We are going to, just for time purposes, I'm going to share the next topic just so we can get an overview so that everybody can see. We're moving on to actual center operations. So the first question is going to be, how are you prepping and pulling during modified center operations? So all of this is going to be based on your current center operations as well as discussing some of the modified center operations. So how are you all handling the pulling and prepping of worksheets right now?
I have 2 staff who comes for math and reading. One person do math and one person do reading. And that happened twice a month. once we receive all the gradings for 2 weeks, most of them, as I said before, is graded already at home. So we go by that. And our hours is depending when they're available, because most of those two people are college students. So they do take classes at home virtually as well from the college. So whenever they are available, they come and do their job and pull and prep, and everything is, they leave it here, everything is complete to pick it up by name. And those papers that I said it before, the progress report. So it's working out fine with me.
Thank you. I see Rupal said that she's working alone. Not her staff doesn't want to work right now. And that's understandable. I'm sorry you have to do it all alone, Rupal, but that I'm sure it's a lot of work. So Rupal, question. So how often are you prepping worksheets since you're doing it alone?
Well, I'm doing it every 2 weeks right now. So I get a long time to grade them, but it's just overwhelming. Like my eyes are about to pop out every day, every single
day. So you're
day.
having to do the grading and the planning and then the pulling and
everything. Yes.
Got it.
So that's made it very challenging.
Are your parents just anti-home grading? Oh, Abby, there's a different kitty.
No, I think, I came across a few parents who graded, so they grade it at their discretion. Some days they are in a mood of grading it, they will. Some days they don't grade it. So it makes it very difficult for me because regardless, I still have to go through all the work. And whenever they're grading, I see some that are even wrong, they're marked correct.
I've got a letter that I found, actually Tina found it, and it was on Kumon UK, but I changed some spellings to be the English spellings, and it's just the benefit of home grading. You want me to share that with you so you can share it with your parents to try to convince?
Please, that would be great.
Anybody else want?
They're excited to grade it. They will say they want to grade it, but after a few days, the excitement dies down and they stop doing it.
Yeah, we got to keep that motivation. Jenna shared that her and her right-hand person, one of them pull a prep on Mondays and they bundle up the work for their drop-off pickup for their parents. So it's either her or she has her chief assistant basically that pulls and preps the work.
Let me tell you what I did for the first 2 weeks, like right after spring break. So then in April, we had a pickup day and I had a lot of parents that did not come by. And I give them a time frame between this time to this time. And they didn't show up or anything. So I'm still calling. And so then I looked at I Googled where they live and they were close to the center. I would call the parents and say, hey, I'm dropping off the work and I'm putting it in your mailbox. That's literally what I did. I went to 4 to 5 people's houses and I put them in their mailboxes.
But hey, I mean, you got them the worksheets. You got to do what you got to do.
I know, and I did it.
Right. So
I've done the same. I've delivered worksheets to their mailboxes.
Hey, I get it. I understand, especially if they won't pick up. I think another center does a drop-off pickup, but when the parent doesn't pick up, they put it in the box outside, and then they are like getting a whole bunch of phone calls and text messages. Like, pick up work.
Well,
so
I've got a question for Chrissy or you, Tori. Where can I get a box like that? I really want to get a box that I can put it where it doesn't get wet or anything.
Yeah, so we got, I think the one at the company center, it came from Walmart. I'll try and Google you one and send you an email of where you can find one. How about that? From Walmart or Target or somewhere. Okay, or even Amazon.
Okay, because I really do want one because I'm having to drive back to the center from home. Like they say,
oh no.
And I'm like, oh.
So what I do is I have a big box with a lid, which I picked up from Walmart, and I have these cardboard boxes. So I just put the first letter names and I segregate it according to alphabetical order, and I just stick them in between the Ziploc bags that I have for kids and put it outside the box so that, the parents can come in and, not mess up the whole set of work that's there for all the kids. So I kind of organize it exactly the way this child sees it when they come to the center to pick up the work. So I just put in like alphabet A and say it's organized according to the first name of your child. And I have these cardboard, just a small cardboard cutouts which has A, B, C, and I just put it in there. So their work is in between A and B if their name starts with A. so they don't have to dig and mess up the other work too. So that's something that I did, which kind of is working from the last couple of weeks.
Okay. I did see someone that I think we've kind of merged with the second question, which was asking how are you utilizing your staff? Some people have staff and some people don't. Someone also said that their chief assistant is grading homework at her home, and she and one of her other assistants, can they join in on the Zoom sessions? Is anybody else actually has staff right now? Are you utilizing them in a different way outside of pulling and prepping and helping with the virtual sessions?
I'm just using myself 200% right now.
Right.
I don't have that many kids, so I'm just doing pulling and prepping for a week, and I'm also new, and for me the EL students, and they are new too, so I want to watch them closely how they are doing it and adjust it, if they need to for after a week. But I mean, once a week I do call them through Zoom or FaceTime or anything they have. But most of the parents are really helpful, and they're trying to, and this is right now new, like Neela said. I mean, they are want to grading and stuff like that, but after a certain time they probably gonna kind of lack of doing grading and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Mega. Rupal, she shared that she has one employee who's helping her with virtual calls, and they've actually split the levels. Jenna stated that she has another staff member that's actually grading and helping her chief assistant, and they're just chiming in where they're needed. Shirley, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes. So I'm having my assistants pick up the work. I make packets for my assistants to grade, just like how I do for my kids, because I don't touch the worksheets for 2 days, and then I kind of segregate it, make packets for them so that they don't have to come to the center to grade. They take it home and they put it back in a separate box that I have for the graders. I'm utilizing it that way. And I have 2 of my staff come in just to stack the worksheets and prep and pull, so that their interaction in the center is minimal. So I kind of try to keep them away but still get work done remotely. So the grading happens in their house, and prep and pull and stacking worksheets I ask them to come in for 2 hours.
Nice. So that having that option of them being able to grade at home, it sounds like that's a big help. So it sounds like everybody is, if you have assistants, you're utilizing them for pulling and prepping or grading. And then for some of the newer instructors that you don't have staff right now, so you're pretty much, handling that on your own, which, is also good. But then we have some people that really need staff. So I completely understand. The next question says, what communication plans do you have in place to exchange feedback with your assistants who are working with students virtually? So are they telling you any notes? How's that happening?
I'm the only one who's doing it virtual with my kids, not my staff. So I can pretty much manage everything by myself.
Right.
Yes.
It's a luxury in some way, right? Like I already know how I want to plan for this student. I know what I want to do. Anybody else doing the virtual sessions on their own? I guess
I'm just doing it on my own.
Yeah, no staff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Rupal says
Rupal.
chats with her assistants after every session. Nice.
Okay. Shirley, are you doing anything different are you have any assistants that are helping you virtually?
It's just me and my chief assistant doing the virtual session. So we pretty much, she is in the center when we are planning, and we take notes together. The other thing I'm doing with for EL and stuff like that is, sometimes I chat with the parents for 2 minutes on the call because they're sitting with them, and I literally, I'm training my EL parents like how I would train my assistants to some extent, because they need to be aware of how to go about doing work with the kids. So a little bit feedback from them. And I put sticky notes on certain worksheets, like notes to the parents, or even if my chief assistant is doing it, so that before we start, we see if there's any sticky note on there. She quickly reads it and gives me feedback right after the sessions.
Okay, and I see in the chat box, we still have people that are just doing it on their own, so I understand that too. Okay, the next part says, how have modified center operations affected your communication with parents? And what systems do you have in place? I know it sounds like everybody is pretty much up their communication. I heard someone say that they're, making those phone calls, once a week. They have open, that student is able, the student is or parent is able to, call when they need to. Anybody else have any other systems in place? Calls. Got that in the chat box. That's great. Do you find yourself making more phone calls now than you did when you were in the center? Yes. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about the same for me.
Okay.
I do call a lot of parents.
Okay. Someone said text messages. So sending text messages.
I think this has brought the bonding between the parents and the instructor have become stronger.
Nice.
And they have really understood how this repetition works, because since they were working from home, we had to give sometimes more repetition. And now the parents are trying to understand how advantageous it is for them to do repetitions and master it.
Nice. Well, that's a plus, right? So if it's, strengthen the relationships, then once you go back to, normal center operations of some sort, then it looks like we got a head start on that. So that's great.
Can I share something that I told Chrissy about? And it was kind of funny. Chrissy knows this one student because, she's met him. He came into the center to do he's in fractions. He's in the F level. And for some reason, he forgot all his rules in fractions. And so what I did was, and mom was there, mom and dad, they're all on board with me on everything. And they home grade. I told them when he does his work that day, I want it graded and I want those corrections done at that time. So they know the importance of that. And so that's what they've been doing. But I realized when he was in the classroom, he kept forgetting some of the rules for fractions. And so I made him repeat all the rules for fractions, like say for the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And then I told him, your homework for today is you're going to go home, write it all down. And I told mom to WhatsApp me. And if it's wrong, I'm going to tell you it's wrong. You're going to correct it. You're going to get it all done until it is done. And I even apologized to mom about that. Like, I'm sorry, because, they had to handle him. And they said, no, if he needs to do it, he's got to get it all right. So I was so happy with that.
Well, good. It seems like they're really understanding the importance of it.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just for time's sake, I want to move to the next one. As shelter-in-place orders are lifted, have you been thinking about what modifications you will need to make for your center operations or for your classes? Anybody been have a chance to give it any thought?
I've been thinking about it because, I was hoping we could reopen in June sometime. So I've been giving it a thought. So I'm probably going to be, having 10 kids at a time, or even 8 kids at a time with assistance. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm creating sign-up genius slots for the parents for every Tuesdays and Fridays, so that, I don't have a fixed time saying, okay, every Tuesday, 3:30, your child is on. I'm giving them that flexibility. I want to continue the same thing for, that month. So I'm saying, okay, you sign up for this slot and have your child come in for half an hour. And I'm not wanting to keep them for more than half an hour in the center. So I'm, want to make the same arrangement that I have on Zoom right now to the center when I transition, at least for a month, and see how that goes.
So using a schedule.
Yes. With reduced number of students and obviously assistants, reduced number of assistants and stuff like that. So that's pretty much, the thought that I've given right now. Of course, adding all the cleanliness, sanitizing before and after, and, having them to get their own pencils and stuff like that. Not keeping anything that's common. So that's pretty much what I have in mind as of now.
I think those are good thoughts.
I kind of had almost the same thing, but my thing was I was just going to do it like one student at a table, once a week for right now. And I want to start opening up in June also, but just do it once a week. Bring your own pencil and eraser, and bring a mask. So that way we're not doing any of that contamination. Do it once a week. I don't want to have it where everybody's coming in at one time. Schedule it in. If they miss it, then we're just gonna have to say, you've got to pick up, because I'm not doing makeup and I don't want it to go into somebody else's slot, so that we're not overwhelmed at that time. So
Right, and do remember, I think Kumon is gonna, there are gonna be masks for children also available on the on Murray's, I think, the third party vendor via iKumon. So there will be some masks available also that way. But it sounds like you all are having good thoughts. I want to pose another question really quick. Has anybody thought about, if you're not on 4 days, possibly spreading it out, and that way you can have more slots to have students to come in on other days, to days during that time?
So that was my thinking. I'm on 4 days, but I'm brand new. But I'm thinking of adding more hours than I already have right now, just so we could, fall into the social distancing, right? The less people are in the center of the time when they finally do open. If I could spread out the times, that'd probably help. That'd probably help ease some stress for some of the parents as well, for me as well, right? Because being in there with everybody else, So I'm thinking about opening more hours for now, but I have that option because I'm pretty new right now, so I can handle a lot more by myself than if I had a bigger center.
I want to share, I spoke with Lena in Johnson City yesterday, and she's actually been thinking about a reopening plan, and the parents have been very positive about EL online instruction. So she's going to continue EL online, and she's going to schedule students to come to the center 1 day a week for class, and then the other day they'll do virtually. So she's going to just, for those parents who are interested. But then again, having the masks and the hand sanitizer and just the sanitation plan, she's waiting to get all of those materials before she starts, because Tennessee's kind of vague in they're not really adhering to the phases of the federal government. So there's it's
I think the biggest piece is going to make sure, like Chrissy was saying, those sanitation measures are in place, and still being able to practice social distancing and making sure you have that opportunity to clean behind students. So just to start giving that some thought. I do want to, I think we've covered the other questions overall. One of the questions was, what aspects of normal center routines do you think can be modified for students to reduce potential germ exposure and cross-contamination? I think everybody's mentioned, those sanitizing measures, putting those in place, social distancing, and then cleaning behind students, not allowing them to, or allowing them to bring in their own pencil and that type of thing. Question was, how will you continue to ensure the same level of customer service is provided once families are back in the center? So basically, if your communication has enhanced right now, keep it enhanced even when it's time to go back. So someone put in the chat that it will definitely be a learning experience, and I agree. Yeah. The next topic, because this is our last topic, I am going to share my screen just so everybody can see the overall of what we'll be discussing for the last topic. All right, so the home study situation. So we're gonna discuss home grading, the grading worksheets, the graded worksheets going home, how you're utilizing parents to record grades at home, what communications do you have about proctoring achievement tests? I think we pretty much covered. And how you're addressing families that have not picked up work. I think we've covered a little bit. And outside of the virtual sessions, are you ensuring your family stay connected and engaged? And have you shared student success during the pandemic? So let's go with number one. If home grading was not part of your normal routine, what strategies have you employed to encourage home grading with your parents? So anybody that already had home grading in place, or anybody that's thinking about it or implemented it?
I've only have home graders for about 2 or 3 students, and that's it. The only thing I have told the parents is hide the book.
Okay.
Hey, I had a Kumon student, and I was home grading. He got a hold of the answer book. You know what happens.
Right.
So I learned from experience.
Okay. Anybody else doing home grading? Oh, Shirley, go ahead.
Yes, so I have, we had that e-link sent out for students for math, with the answer books online. So I chose a selected few of math students. I'm not home grading for reading because it completely doesn't make any sense. So I'm not home grading anybody for reading, but for math, selected students, I've sent out emails to the parents how to access those and grade those. The students whom I've selected are all middle school, high school kids. So they self-grade their work. They put in, and I know how honest the kids are. So you cannot trust them. You have to trust them a little bit. And I see them do the work as well. So it kind of has been working that way. But for reading, everything comes back to the center, and I've kept it that way for now.
Okay, agree. The reading can be a bit difficult. Math is pretty straightforward. I know Jenna was, there she is right there. She put it in the chat. Jenna said she's planning to share a presentation to her parents about how to home grade, and she's going to start with math first. So actually, getting the parents that have math subjects, getting them online and actually, going through a tutorial with them. And then I think she was thinking about that if she implements it, and Jenna, correct me if I'm wrong, she's thinking about keeping it. So then their incoming parents for the math they're gonna have to home grade too.
Yes, kids make smoother progress. So why
Right.
not keep it going?
And I think you'll see, and I think Chrissy has the letter that it basically puts it not to make our jobs easier for the grading, even though that's why we want it, right? But for the parents to be able to give the student instant results so that they have that opportunity to actually make those corrections. And it, like Chrissy said, makes for faster progression if they can make the corrections now and don't have to wait 2 weeks before they have to pick up again. So maybe putting it out there that way.
I actually deliver some of those corrections too after they're done and they've been entered.
Okay.
Yeah, I have done that. Or if I know the parent is close by or that they work close by, I'll actually let them know, can you come by and just pick up their corrections or something. But I'm sorry, I am one of those that will get the stuff done for the students. Like, if they have to do those corrections, they're going to do those corrections before they move forward, especially if you know that they're already the ASHRs 1, 2s, or 3s, and you want to keep them going.
Right.
Hey, Abby, have you taught your furry freeloaders how to grade yet?
No, they're just freeloaders.
Yeah.
They just run the house and are freeloaders. So
I don't know.
unfortunately not.
But she's had a couple of cats up there trying to help her with the IMM this afternoon.
I see yours behind you.
Oh. Yeah, lazy freeloader.
So I do see the next question talked about if you're sending graded worksheets home, how are you assigning corrections? But I think we've pretty much hit that point that, are making sure that the student has the opportunity to correct, putting that on top of their 100% work so that they know they have them, putting it in their mailbox, making sure that, if they, making sure that, you have those one-on-one sessions with the students to observe their corrections, having those conversations like, hey, you're not on track, make sure you're studying the examples, looking at your corrections. So I think we've covered that. The next one says, what tools are you utilizing for parents to record grades at home and communicate the grades with you? So if those of you that have home grading, how are the parent getting the results back to you?
Like for me, like I said, they come pick up every 2 weeks, and I literally do go through the packets, even though they've graded it. We do go through those packets because I haven't told them exactly like what to circle, like, you know, how we do the 100% on the top, or I don't know how everybody does it, but with the numbers at the, like the 9, 8, whatever, I haven't told them to go that far with it. So, because I don't want them to be doing the home grading, because when we're grading, we actually pay attention to their writing. And my graders are very particular about that too. If they're not writing correctly, then they put a note, or they'll tell the instructor, especially for the EL, they need to work on this. So that way we are able to look at it. That's why I don't want the home grading to be still instilled even after everything goes back to the normal.
Gotcha. So that training the parent piece, you want to make sure, you know, you're just doing it for a few students, I think you said, just to make sure that it's consistent across the board with what you normally look for.
Yeah.
So good. And I think home grading can be different for everyone. It depends on the size of your center. It depends on how much help you actually have and how much training has actually gone into it for your actual parents. So it can, you know, it can be different from center to center. Did anybody want to add something? Okay, make sure. All right, the next part says, what communication, well, I think we've covered this. What communication do you have with parents about proctoring the achievement test? So it sounds like, you know, for the most part, some people have their student actually one-on-one time coming into the center. It looks like some people are still in the achievement test, so before they actually get on with the session. I wanted to ask though, I think this question was pertaining, is there anybody that are having the parent actually proctoring the achievement test and you not actually having the option to see it? Is anybody doing that?
Arshad said he was when they were doing in the car, if the parent was not.
Right, he said he was checking in every now and then on the student. So is there anything, Arshad, in place as far as like the parent while you're not standing there the whole time? They may come in the chat. Abby, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, there's definitely, you know, a few students who have been doing Kumon for a very long time who you can send the test home, trust that the family is doing it right because you see the work, you know, you interact with the child, you know if they actually know the material or not. So, I mean, we've had a few students over the years that, you know, come in once a month, if you know, if that. And they're doing Kumon exactly the way it's supposed to be done. The parents grade the work. It's done every single day. They just don't make it to the center twice a week.
Right. So, you know, basically, you know that student and that family understands the
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I wouldn't do that to a new student.
Right.
If you're a student or one that is a more weak student, a weaker student.
Right. Understood. Okay. And the next question says, how are you addressing, I think we've done this too, how are you addressing families that have not picked up work or are not consistently completing their work? If anybody wants to add anything, I know we talked about, somebody said they're actually literally, you know, making phone calls consistently. Somebody said they're actually taking the worksheets to their house and telling them that I left them in your mailbox. Does anybody else have anything in place about how you're staying in contact with those families, or if you have students that are not consistently completing their work, do you have anything that you have in place for that?
Yeah, I have 2 students who have been doing that. So I've taken, so, you know, giving 2 weeks of work to the student in their Kumon bag, a few of them, it's like overwhelming to them. And that's when the parents have complained that the Kumon worksheets are in our entire house everywhere and they cannot find them. So, yeah. So at that point, I've asked the parents, like, hey, can you keep a track of the worksheets and give them just 5 pages or 10 pages, whatever they're doing every day, and take them back, hold them accountable. And I am requesting pictures of those by a certain time.
Good.
So at that point, the student is held accountable that, okay, I have to do them. Rupal is asking for pictures, so the pictures need to be sent. So that way, even the parents are participating. I've asked the parents, like sometimes they will give me excuse, oh, I don't have a pencil. I can't find a pencil in my house. I've asked the parents to prepare everything for them and, you know, ask for their help.
No excuses, right?
Yes.
Anybody else have anything they want to add before we move to the next one? Okay, outside of the virtual sessions, how are you ensuring your family stay connected and engaged with you and Kumon during this time? Anybody have any? Abby, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we do a show and tell every Wednesday now. And it's been, we just started it last week and it was a lot of fun. So
what are they showing and telling?
Last week we had a little guy, he showed off his microscope and his science book.
Okay.
A little guy showed off his baseball glove and trophies. One little guy showed off his English is his second language, so he showed off a book that was special to him in his native tongue. And a little girl was a black belt in karate. So,
learn a lot about them, right? About each other.
Right. So it was a lot of fun.
And you're doing this on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays. Yeah, we'll do it. It's at 11:30 every Wednesday.
Nice. And how long do you all stay on?
We stay for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
You know.
I like that.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I got to show off my cats.
I literally was about to ask, do you show and tell?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, I like. Anybody else doing anything else with your students? I do know when we go back to the main session that they are going to share some that, you know, some people in our region, what they've been doing. So it might give you some ideas of some things you may want to actually try out, you know, with your center. I think one of them was bingo, like somebody has a bingo night. So that could be fun. And so just try to think outside of the box to keep them engaged so that, you know, they know outside of I have to do my Kumon, it's still, you know, it can be fun too. And my instructor is actually fun. So remember that. And if I miss anything or if anybody wants to add something, please stop me. And then the next one says, how have you shared your student successes during this pandemic?
Like sharing it to the student or to the parents?
Both.
When the student takes the test, of course, you know, like I said, they come to the center. I will let them know that they did great, that they passed, and then I will let the parents know.
Okay.
If my kids take tests at home, I actually tell the parents that how I grade the test, and I put big 100% on top of the first page and make face or something, and I post the test with the student on the Facebook. So since that's not happening in the center, so I asked them do the same way at home, make it big 100% and take the picture at home and send it to me. And I just posted on the Facebook and they're happy to see it.
Awesome.
There you go. I like that. Rupal added that their little notes that are addressed to the student and sent home with the student's work. And Jenna said that when they do well on an achievement test, they can come get a prize out of the treasure box in the center when they do their drop-off pickup. So still having that in place. I think Shirley said, you know, similar to what she has, the Kumon dollars and then being able to pick up gifts from the treasure box. But Naeem, I like the fact that you're posting it on Facebook so that all of your families that do follow you on Facebook, they can actually see that student success. And I think see more when we go back into the main room of some other ways. And even when we do the marketing piece next week, you can think about ways that you may want to share some student success for your new families that might be interested in that you actually, you know, address and praise those students, even though it's virtually. So I like the fact, you know, maybe you can get some pictures of the student taking their achievement test, and when they do well, maybe the parents can send you a picture with the student holding the test up, and you can post. So there are a lot of different things that you can do and share with your families, share with the other students. Maybe when you get on for show and tell, you know, maybe do some shout outs, you know, like shout out some students that actually did well on an achievement test or something of that sort. So we have about 5 minutes, and I just want to, you know, anybody that wants to add anything, Anybody want to share how things are going, your feelings? Are you, tired of being at home and ready to get back to normal center operations, or
Yes.
are you just relaxing and you're taking it out? So let's share. We have about 4 or 5 minutes left, so please share.
I've heard so many instructors say they just miss the kids. Neela said that yesterday. I just miss the kids.
I do. I miss the kids, especially the rowdy ones.
They were your entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People say ready to get back to normal schedule. I get it.
Yes.
A lot of my kids have been telling Jenna, when are we coming back to the Kumon Center? So they're always asking me, when are we coming back? So I think the kids are ready to come back too. For sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about what it's going to look like, when we do go back to normal. Like, how many people will come out. Just anxious to see what's going to happen in the future.
Right. So Desmond says he's just interested to see what's going to happen in the future. Like, how is this going to look? And I think it won't look the same, right? I think our normal, it'll be a long time before we actually see our normalcy. But at least being able to get some of the students in the center, even if we have to take some precautions and some different measures, I think it's just going to be nice to just be back in that space and to have the kids back in that space. And I think the guidebook will be great at letting us, know what precautions we have to take moving forward. So
we definitely miss that discipline that you see in the child when they come to the center, because at home they're more relaxed and things get a little difficult to kind of have them to focus. They see their insets on the Zoom and they keep making faces at themselves rather than doing work. But I very much miss seeing them in person in front of you, across the table, and that certain discipline that comes in when they walk into the center for learning. That's pretty much what I'm missing a lot. And another thing I saw is some of the kids are very terrified of the fact that the parent is sitting right across. So that's another stress point having to deal with some of the kids, that they get so stressed that the mom's watching or dad's around and they get too conscious and they screw up sometimes. So,
yeah, I think we've seen that too, like, making the kids nervous. And it's because the Kumon Center can be their safe space. So it's make mistakes. And now that I'm sitting in front of mom or dad, it's like, now I'm nervous and I feel like I can't make mistakes. So
you can't even ask the parent to get away because it's their home. So a little less of a hold on the child you have. So I don't want that anymore.
Has anybody had any aha moments about student development or ability because of the observations that you're doing one-on-one?
I did. One of my 4-year-olds, she took a 4A reading test. And this is, she was probably 3 weeks into the pandemic thing. And then so I told them to come in and take a test. I was shocked to see that. I'm like, oh my God, you're reading. And I was so shocked that, because meaning that she was doing it, her handwriting improved, and I was really shocked. And I was like, I had to go out and tell her mom too that she's starting to read, and she goes, yeah. And so we were both shocked, especially at the time where she was taking that 4A test, and that she was zooming right through it. She did it in 5 minutes, and whereas, it would take her long. I think it was just trying to get up the hill and going down now. So now it's like we're down from the hump, trying to go from it. But that little push that we needed for her. And after that, she's going now.
That's great.
I have one kid, he's in 7A, and whenever he reads those words, I praise him and I make my face that I'm very happy to hear that he's reading. So he also gets happy, and his mom always sits with him. So he tells his mom, hey mom, look, Mr. Khan is happy. I can read.
Oh, gosh.
That's awesome.
I had a parent actually come, it's the Yale student who started with me about 4.5 months back. she actually came and said on the call and said, I now understand how Kumon is working with my child, because she's kind of at home sitting, working every day. And she keeps all the worksheets, and she says that if I look at the first month worksheets, the way she wrote and what she's doing now, it's like poles apart. So she, in fact, came back and gave me feedback saying, I understand the program and I see how it's working on my child.
Great.
Awesome.
I think this is really going to open up for the parents to see what Kumon does for, really does for their students. And just FYI, guys, I think we're towards the end. So the breakout room is going to close on us, just so you know. I want to thank everybody for sharing. I think everybody, we've heard your challenges, but definitely heard your success. And I hope that when you go back to normal center or somewhat normal center operations, that, you have everything worked out and your students are happy and your families are happy. So thank you so much for joining Chrissy and myself today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you want, you can leave the breakout room and go back to the main session now, or it will close out on you. Probably.
Abby, before you get out, how many hairy kids do you have?
2 cats and 1 dog. I just got that black and white cat last week, though.
Aww.
He's a doll.
Aww.
How many for you?
4 cats. I have 2 and my husband has 2.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So neither one of us are crazy cat people.
You're both
I like
crazy
that.
cat people.
Yeah, you're right.
That's my mom.
At least Abby is.
I do like the kitty cats. They're sweet.
Yeah, my husband was not a cat person until I moved in with 2 cats. So
I think for my husband too, probably he wasn't real big and now he loves them.
well, the 22-pound monster behind me is his baby.
He's huge.
He's huge.
Beautiful though. Absolutely
He's got
beautiful.
attitude.
They all have bad attitudes. I've never met a cat with a good attitude.
That's right.
Cats are supposed to have attitude.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. See you in the main